He's a freelance photographer who has an appreciation of beauty and expression of inner self. Through his passion, he manages to capture moments which are fleeting. He was also awarded the Prime Minister's Award for promoting Pakistani culture through photography. So let's take a look at the work of UMAIR GHANI. And we're joined in the studio by the freelance photographer and writer UMAIR GHANI. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Cool.
So tell me, how did you start in the field of photography? Where did the interest or passion come from?
I always lived on the maxim that not everybody trusts a painting, but everybody believes in a photograph. So when I became conscious of the surroundings around me, I always found photographs around me. They always fascinated me. There was a certain kind of mystery about seeing past frozen, fossilized on a piece of paper. And it was so realistic and so alive that it attracts you.
Yeah.
It fascinates you. And it forces you to imagine, to pursue, to look deeper into the reality of that little piece of paper which bears so much of your being. So I was always crazy about it.
Did you learn photography through any
It is very unfortunate that we don't have learning schools in Pakistan. At least we didn't have at that time. I'm talking about early 90s.
Yeah, I think they've come about now more in the past.
So what
years.
education came, that was only from the advice of some senior photographers. And fortunately I found one amazing forum that was Islamabad Camera Club, ICC. And that was wonderful. That was studied with some amazing Pakistani photographers who are recognized on international level. Some of them are lifetime judges for international events. And many of them, like Javed Qazi, like Nisare Mirza.
Are they inspirational for you?
That was I mean, the biggest inspiration came from there. So I followed their advice. I frequently took my work there. And finally I got recognized as a photographer.
Okay. But tell me, what is your particular photographic style, if any, that you have?
Well, I believe in the simplicity of art. And I also learned this through hard practice, that the simplicity has its own complications, intricacies, which are simple yet fascinating, yet engaging. So I always focus on the simplest form, the very basic colors, and the simplest non-distracting backgrounds. So one word that can describe my art is simple. Even my digital alterations, they're very simple, very basic, but my theme is strong. And the culture itself is so vibrant, throbbing, that you don't need to play
around with it too much. But you've got a very interesting, diverse range in your photographs. You know, from the horseman cometh, which I asked you about earlier, and the Karakoram serenic beauty. Do you have to sort of get into a different mode to take the different shots? Because one is very sort of action-packed, and the other is very calm and serene. So what process do you go through to take
that is the trait of
shots?
this land and its people. At one moment we are calm, and at the other moment the adrenaline rush
crazy.
And everything, and we're crazy. And that has happened with the culture as well. So the diversity of life and its throbbing, calm, serene attitudes, they're all around us. So it's quite natural for an artist to indulge deeper into these things, to get influenced by all these different modes, diverse modes of life. It's quite natural.
Okay. But what's your favorite place to go to take pictures? What has been your favorite?
Well, I must say that it's tent pegging.
Yeah?
And
there are a lot of shots
basically
of that.
Cultural sports. And it's very unfortunate that these things are being, not taken care of, and they are vanishing like anything else.
Well, there is the tent pegging society in Islamabad, Peshawar.
Yeah, in Islamabad, and not in the places where actually tent pegging happens. So the distance, it counts.
Okay. You also write for various travel magazines, and I believe you're also compiling a book yourself as well. How are you going through the experience to do that, and how has it helped you further your own sort of development of photography for yourself?
Well, the experience has been spiritual. It has been something ethereal, and I'm a totally transformed person since I deliberately engaged myself to pursue this very serious task of compiling photographs for a book.
How many do you need to compile a book?
Because it keeps you alive. It preserves something which is happening today for the future generations. And even I'm grieving at the loss of these cultural sports, and they're no more frequently happening like they were happening in my childhood. I still remember I get to sit on the shoulders of my father, and we watched these tent peggings and this ox race and this dangals and kushtis. And it's quite unfortunate for this present generation of Pakistani kids that they're being confined to the computer games or cell phone games, and they don't have this real flack and fear of life.
Person as well, but yeah, obviously that is a shame. But how has writing sort of helped you release that feeling that you have towards this?
A picture speaks 1,000 words, and still it needs a little phrase to describe itself, a little legend. There are two types of people in the world: one who get influenced instantly by the visual impact, and the other who look for a caption. So books help you survive in both ways. Writing,
Okay. Do you prefer to take shots in sort of daylight, or is it darkroom manipulated, or now digital with the Photoshop and everything else, or do you like to compile everything for different pictures that you take?
A photographer who's working on landscape and culture has to work with nature's schedule, not by his own. So it is nature who defines my course. I have to be at the places at the right time when the thing is happening, whether it's harsh light or it's early morning glow or it's fabulous evening angular light. So I have to be there. I have to work with nature's schedule. The other thing is to craft my skill at the level, to readjust myself to what nature has to offer. If a sunset is inspiring me and I don't have to capture the technique, so naturally it will be a creative disaster. And on the other hand, if I live on technique and I have no inspiration from the sunset, still that leaves me at nothing.
But do you believe in the digital enhancement of photographs these days?
Of course, there has always been enhancement. So what photographers did in the darkroom, actually, they were enhancing the impact of their prints. And digital enhancement has opened up more creative avenues for any artist today.
True.
So, the imagination is the only limit. So I must count on that.
Okay. But I also wanted to ask you, you received the Prime Minister's award for Pakistani contribution to Pakistani culture through photography. How was that experience for you? You must have been very proud at that time.
A little tap on the shoulder is always good. So at least I got recognition here. So my work was being published outside the country but not in Pakistan. I was a bit grieved at this. And the society we have developed into is a pity that generally people don't pay heed to the serious kind of work. And this advent of digital photography has unleashed an army of photographers swarming the scene, and very little serious work is being produced. So finally, I really thank nature, God, people and the prime ministers to recognize this effort.
But are you inspired by any particular photographers or artists?
Many of them, many of them.
Who are some of your favorites?
The different phases, and the biggest influence comes still from the Pakistani photographers like Javed-e-Qazi, like M.R. Avesi, Nisar Mirza, Aftab Ahmed, Azam Adnan. So these are masters of the art. Salim Khawar today is doing wonderful job. Nadeem Khawar on landscape is fabulous. So, and the world around is full of creative artists. So wherever you look, you find somebody who truly inspires you.
But lastly, what's the one lasting impression that you would want your photographs to leave behind?
They must look real. They must bear the fruit of my efforts and the vibrant, throbbing colors of my culture and the beauty of Pakistani people.
Well, on that note, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
I'm honored.
We'll be right back after this break.